Chapter 23. Her principle of multiplication. Getting by is not an option, if you can be exceptional. Kingdom. There is a stewardship spiritual principle clearly seen in the lives of both Joseph and David. I call it the principle of multiplication. Simply put, multiplication means increase. It is mentioned in various New Testament parables. His Lord said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. For everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away." Matthew chapter 25 verses 21 and 29. In other words, because Joseph and David were faithful over the smaller stewardship roles God entrusted to them, God then entrusted them with the larger roles and eventually the purpose. Like these two men, we are to be trained in smaller measures of our calling and then work our way up to the real thing. Here are other multiplication passages. The first is from Luke chapter 12. And the Lord said, "Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his master will make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of food in due season?" This is where Christ is training us up to go, to be faithful stewards, as well as trustworthy to give out food in this instance, but this could symbolize anything, to the people placed under our charge. Can Christ trust you to be faithful in such management? If not, he plans to train you to be just that. Let's continue the scripture. "Blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you that he will make him ruler over all that he has. For everyone to whom much is given, from him much will be required, and to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask the more." Luke chapter 12 verses 42 to 48. For being faithful in the little, the faithful steward is entrusted with more. The principle of multiplication applies to everything in God's kingdom. Even when it comes to hearing God speak to us, increase and decrease is evident. Then Christ said to them, "Take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you, and to you who hear, more will be given. For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken away from him." Mark chapter 4 verses 24 to 25. If God speaks to you and you not only listen but also obey, God will trust you with more of his words, his plans, his secrets, his ways. At salvation, we all start as spirit children of God. Infants regarding spiritual matters. As a parent, would you entrust the keys to your Porsche to your 2-year-old son or daughter? What about the daily management of your construction business, hair salon, or whatever business you might have? Of course you would not. A 2-year-old eats, poops, breaks things, and is just learning to speak and walk. You'd wait until the child is legally old enough, visibly mature, and has a track record of being trustworthy before handing over the keys to your precious car, let alone your entire livelihood. For some children, the driving age would be 15 or 16, but up to that point, there would have been years of learning and growing for the child, and many small opportunities given by parents to build trust. In my family, the kids' car was a Jeep Wrangler, a convertible Jeep, cherry red, fairly new and in great shape. From the moment Mom and Dad purchased the Jeep, I was in love with it. Of the 4 kids, I was the oldest and first in line to drive. I dreamed of the day I would cruise into the high school parking lot behind the wheel. My friends would be so jealous. When I was 16, however, not long after we got the Jeep, Dad bluntly expressed that there was no way I would drive any of his cars, not even the car deemed as the kids' car. He said I'd get drunk and kill someone. He wasn't taking the chance. I was so furious naturally. Many times I vehemently denied I'd ever do such a thing. Why did Dad say this to me, one might ask? Well, because every weekend I was sneaking off with friends to go drinking. I had set a precedent. My life held the undeniable pattern of rebellion. Even before Mom found a bottle of vodka in the back of my closet that ignited a firestorm, I had repeatedly demonstrated by my obstinate behavior I was untrustworthy, both in the little things I was asked to do, as well as the large. My grades were terrible. I often neglected to do my chores. I constantly bickered with my younger sisters. I was disrespectful to my parents. Why would anyone trust me with anything? Looking back, I wouldn't have, and certainly not with the Jeep Wrangler. The ultimate proof of my untrustworthiness was that after Mom and Dad said I couldn't drive the Jeep, I stole the Jeep while at church and took it for a joyride. When I saw the success in this, I began stealing the Jeep during weekend nights to go to parties while my parents were asleep. And guess what? More than once, I had driven the Jeep after doing some drinking. I wasn't drunk during these times, but I was well on my way. Who knows what I would have done over time if my parents hadn't intervened. As with my parents, God is not cruel for momentarily safeguarding the keys to your destiny. First, He wants you to learn to crawl, then walk, and then run. When you have become proficient in these first things, you will be given a bicycle and taught how to ride it safely. Given more time, you might be given the keys to the family car if you've proved faithful in the little things. Only after that comes the family business. And your purpose is just that, the family business.